All right, thanks for sitting put in there, ladies and gentlemen. Again, it's a privilege to come to you today. I am so excited to be here with you. I want to believe we're going to get a very, very exciting broadcast. Today, again, I will be speaking on the subject of this collaboration. Collaboration, that is a very, very big subject out there amongst Ambazonians. We are going to come with a talking point that I brought yesterday. However, not many people were privileged enough to tune in to watch it, especially when the moment I started doing the presentation, we were cut off here on the social media. Ground Zero did watch that, but here on the social media in the diaspora, I guess very, very few people watched it. I put it out there in the audio, but many people requested, if I'm coming live, I should bring it again. So I will be bringing you that broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. That will be the main subject of our discussion here today on ABC. Also, I will be talking about some of the leaks that you guys are hearing all out there. Please hold your peace and have your peace and ignore all the fabrications and the concoctions from enablers and irrelevant people out there. They just want us to carry our hands on our head and walk away in surrender. Listen to me, that is not going to happen. They can commit suicide. We will not live here until you, Ambazonians, say, hey, you are no longer doing the right thing. Then we will humbly say, hey, somebody else can do this. So please, I will be coming to that later in the broadcast. I will be talking about some of those fabrications out there, ladies and gentlemen. But without waiting, because I know the day is far spent. I will come to you with this monologue. I will come to you with this monologue, and after that, I will be having Comrade Abdukarim and the guests join me to analyze that monologue. So please stay put. You stay put as I bring you the monologue today. And the monologue again is titled Comrade Abdukarim, Sisiko Ayuk Tabe, the IG, the rest of us, and collaboration. Fellow Ambazonians, about a week ago, Comrade Abdukarim came up with an indicting epistle on the issue of collaboration. His was preceded by that of Sisiko Julius Ayuk Tabe, former leader of this interim government, abducted and locked up with 10 orders at La République du Cameroon's Condenghe prison. We still do not know whether this was a coordinated effort or just coincidence, but they both indicted every leader and activist fighting for this liberation of our country, except themselves. They observed a real and present danger, but ignorantly or deliberately shifted the blame to others. That is partly what is wrong with these collaboration appeals. Do we, at this stage of the struggle, really need this collaboration? Do we need it? Is it really necessary? These are the answers I bring to you, but I bet you collaboration is badly needed, it is necessary. But there are many amongst us who suppose that the time for it is over. And there are others like the President, Dr. Samuel Ekomesako, who have said there are some groups or people you don't really collaborate with. You don't need collaboration with. that you need but reconciliation. All these shades of opinion are very, very critical. First of all, it is awkward that some people would want to lecture or blame this interim government on the lack of collaboration amongst the groups fighting for the independence of Ambazonia. It is even stranger when the call for collaboration is coming from Sisiko Julius Ayoktabe, the one man, ladies and gentlemen, solely responsible for the current state of divisions within the struggle. And please do not call this the blame game. It isn't a blame game at all. Again, be reminded that Sisiko is solely responsible for the state of division we witness in this struggle today. I was one of those invited to attend the famous Fourth Conclave, from where this interim government was birthed. Sisiko, in collaboration with his cronies, refused collaboration from there by his actions or through the conduct of that assembly. Leaders, for example, of other factions invited to Abuja were locked out of the process. They were locked out of that conclave. They murmured and grumbled and turned back to their various destinations in Europe and in America. Maybe, just maybe, if they had been included in the process, we wouldn't be talking about collaboration today after 4 years. We would maybe be talking about reconciliation. That's my guess. In the absence of Sisiko, that is to say, after their abduction and transfer to La République du Cameroon, this interim government took up quite a number of initiatives aimed at bringing other groups to collaboration. I believe the great Washington D.C. rally that preceded a unity conference featuring all the frontline leaders is still very fresh in our minds. The initiative was sponsored by this interim government, and almost every leader that mattered was there. But before it was all over, leaders who had gone there hoping to emerge new leaders of the struggle, haven't been disappointed, left there disgruntled as usual, and felt collaboration was dead. But even so, the interim government still continued to believe and preach collaboration. That explains why the interim government was very visible in Dr. Fontaine's neighbors conference in D.C. later that year. Though we were not the organizers, we had hoped that this would achieve what the Washington rally failed to achieve. That is, unite every other movement to collaboration. I cannot name other secret initiatives at collaboration that also flopped, but I should state that in all of these instances, ladies and gentlemen, collaboration failed because it was always expected before any of such meetings that the interim government would be brought down. A new movement or organization would emerge to whose loyalty nobody would know. Collaboration had essentially become another word for capitulation. Capitulation of the interim government. Maybe you are asking, what is wrong? What was wrong about that if it would serve the good of all Ambazonians? There was something very, very fundamentally wrong with it. And I will explain to you right here. This interim government is the only institution or the only body in this struggle. Nobody can deny this. With checks and balances to the effect that no one man can dictate the pace and the direction of this struggle. This interim government is the only body with a well-constituted structure that represents the avowed desires of the Ambazonian grassroots. The interim government is the only body, ladies and gentlemen, with a very strong and competent financial structure that is directly accountable to the people of Ambazonia. The interim government remains the only body that has been subjected to scrupulous scrutiny, audited and continuously audited by a board of auditors representing all of Ambazonia's 14 counties. 14 counties. The interim government is the only body in the struggle, ladies and gentlemen, practicing real democratic principles, flanked by a parliament in the Restoration Council, the Judicial Council, the counties and local government setups. These make for the much needed checks and balances necessary for the effective running of any government, or call it organization, without building a strong man. Again, without building a strong man. Like in the case of Sisiko's impeachment, the leadership or president of the interim government can be fired if he does not perform or is found in the dereliction of duty. These stringencies have helped to build trust in the people of Ambazonia in the interim government, though it still has its pitfalls. But the people can rest assured that at least no one man can hold the struggle to ransom. No one man or few individuals should have monopoly of wisdom over how the struggle is prosecuted and over how your donations are spent or used. These are the stringencies governing this interim government, but which every other group that we know of in this struggle lacks. Ambazonians give them funding, but they have never been accountable to anybody. We are very aware that theirs are one-man leadership, sometimes tribal or clans leadership. In fact, most, if not all of these groups have never seen a change in leadership. Never. These are the fundamental things behind which the interim government has refused to capitulate for any reason to some new structure or revolutionary council, as some have suggested. A revolutionary council of one person, one dictator. The interim government is a very big tent, especially in the advent of local government by local government, where every Ambazonian can and should belong. The imputation that the interim government was a wrong idea in the first place pales, ladies and gentlemen, or just doesn't argue well in the face of the accomplishments of this interim government setup. Maybe, just maybe it was then, but at this moment, with the decentralized structures in counties and local governments, it couldn't have been a bad idea, not at all. And allow me to say this. The reason why some are so obsessed with negativity and fits of bitterness against the interim government isn't because the leadership is corrupt and incompetent. It is rather because some Ambazonians have lived for too long in La République du Cameroon system. They think if you are not from the same village, you are just not good for the position or for leadership. That is their problem. This is exactly what is killing Ambazonians. This is the reason why there have been no collaboration. This is indeed the crux of the matter. And I hate it when people write about it in a parabolic language. Let's call a spade a spade. Haven't most of you heard this mention of, and I quote, he is from the northern zone, and so forth. Or, let's get it back to the southern zone, so that blah, blah, blah. Haven't you heard that? Ladies and gentlemen, we didn't even hear this in the days of the Fonchas, the Indales, and the Munas. We did not hear this division. We are so sought into this trouble nocturnal divide and rule thing, and it is tearing our struggle, our mission apart. If we must make it, we must end this. If we must reach Boya, we must see ourselves as one people. One people, not as a Libyalem man versus a Meza man, not as a Fako man versus Manu man, but as Southern Cameroonians and Bazonians versus colonial genocider La République du Cameroon. That is who we are, Ambazonians. This interim government isn't out for collaboration or of convenience. This IG isn't for the type of collaboration meant to give some individuals a good name and safe face in the eyes of the gullible. This interim government isn't ready for collaboration intended to pass on to La République du Cameroon, who they want to see at the negotiation table, as opposed to who Ambazonians want to see on that table. Comrade Sisiko and team do not need collaboration with this interim government. As Dr. Sako stated over the weekend, if Sisiko and team need anything, it is reconciliation. And for anyone to take any reconciliation seriously, Sisiko should start in Kondenge, reconciling with all the other folks with whom you fell apart for dividing and straining this same struggle. Reconciliation, ladies and gentlemen, means Sisiko dissolves the attempted cabinet or government in Kondenge. He should acknowledge that, having been impeached, his title has changed from President Sisiko to former President Sisiko. He should come to reconciliation, understanding that Ambazonia has only one interim government, and one president, Dr. Samuel Ekomesako, at least for the moment. The interim government is very much open, very, very open to reconciliation. That is the word. We are stronger together, but weaker in factions. That is why reconciliation is good. This is also what honest Ambazonians want to hear from Sisiko in the event of that reconciliation. They want to know, what was your NERA meeting about, sir? It has long been discredited that it was a refugee meeting, as you want everybody to believe. And Iko, Cameroon's intelligence chief, has recently stated during a meeting in Ghana in March, I think so, that NERA meeting was meant to be a negotiation which Sisiko did not tell anybody. Do you and your team, Sisiko, still stand for an independent Southern Cameroon and Bazonia? Are you in any agreement to join a Kamto government in the event of a takeover? In the event of reconciliation, will you pragmatically say, like Comrade Tassang Wilfred, negotiate with La République du Cameroon as if we were dead? Will you say that? This is the kind of reconciliation that Ambazonians want to see. It will do a whole lot of good and healing. Supporters of both the Kondenge attempted government and those of the interim government, the People's Interim Government, PIG, will will be able to pool resources together in the event of a reconciliation, concert together, and brainstorm for an Armageddon on La République du Cameroon. Ambazonians must know this. Should two interim governments get into the negotiation table, which is exactly what La République du Cameroon is gunning for, it will be chaos. Chaos. Only Sisiku can prevent this from happening because he is the one that La République schemes on using. And let me emphasize here that collaboration. If he thinks that is how far he can go, if he thinks that is the only route he can take, he is not serious. He's not being serious. Let me address now in general terms those who, because the interim government, who accuse the interim government of not doing enough for collaboration. Assuming for a second that the interim government hasn't come to you or is not willing to come to you, ARC, Ambazonia Coalition Team, is there for your group too. It's for all of us. Why has your group not joined the team? That is exactly where true collaboration is taking place. ARC is made up of about 9 frontline groups. Groups that are not in the habit of trying to swallow the interim government or the interim government trying to swallow any other group for that matter. They have been working together ever since the Swiss mediation was introduced. Scam of Dr. Chris Atang is there. Scapo with Pi Augustine Ndangam is there too. The APLM of Dr. Ebenezer Akwanga is there. Maurice of Ntumfon, Bo Herbert, is there also. The SCNC is also there too, including other groups and even independent people representing perhaps genders. Why would any group that says it's fighting for the independence of Ambazonia not be in ARC, Ambazonia Coalition Team? The fact is simple. Any group that shuns collaboration, that will not join ARC, should be seen to be fighting to take us back to a one and indivisible Cameroon, but masquerading as a liberation movement. Fellow Ambazonians, as the nose tightens round La République du Cameroon positions in this conflict, let's remain very, very vigilant as to what alliances some leaders in this struggle are forming or joining. There are only two sides in this conflict, ladies and gentlemen. The side that argues for a one Cameroon and that which stands for a free and independent Ambazonia. This interim government will never enter into any form of collaboration or pact with groups harloting over the place or playing hide and seek game with La République du Cameroon. Let's not forget, we were once at this point before, but our leaders were divided and manipulated, and history records that they failed. If we should allow ourselves to be divided and manipulated also, as in the days of our forefathers, we will never again be able to rise to this great evil that is La République du Cameroon. We too will fail. There are a few groups and individuals out there under the pale rule of the enemy who are spending sleepless nights to see that all of our labor ends in vain, to see that all of our fighters die in vain, and to see that all our towns and villages are burned down and decimated in vain. Listen to the sound of my voice, everybody. The good ones, the patriots, the brave ones, and the statesmen still among us, all with us, are much more than those against us or against this struggle. We must not despair and allow evil to triumph over good. We must not. Collaboration is good. The international community is always singing that to our ears. But let me tell you something. La République du Cameroon doesn't understand that language of collaboration. It means nothing, nothing to them. The only language they understand is the language that tumbles down their economy, their institutions, their barracks, their colonial administrators, and their liberties too. The language that La République du Cameroon understands more than collaboration is the language of firepower. Firepower. The language of annihilation and the decimation of everything with their name and their flag on it. This is what we must all pay attention to now. Those who want collaboration will join us in this great plot. It is here we have the winning strategy. Be strong out there, ladies and gentlemen. Never think of giving up because you see negativity all over the place from irrelevant people. We will win this war if we just persevere an inch. We have lost so much already. What should anyone want to give up for now? I mean, at this time. Remember the words of Winston Churchill, and I quote, "Great success always comes at the risk of enormous failure." Great success always comes at the risk of enormous failure. Thank you, and that was the talking point, ladies and gentlemen. I am joined here again today by Barrister John Nsoh. I am also joined by Professor Martin Ayim and Comrade Abdukarim. And we're going to be having our analysis on this, based on this talking point I just brought to you. I will go to Comrade Abdukarim. I hope he is not frozen on my screen. It appears he is frozen on my screen. Comrade Abdu, if you can hear me, please work on your camera. I think you are frozen on my screen here. In your absence, I will go immediately to Barrister John Nsoh and Professor Ayim, who are here. Again, Comrade Abdul, if you can hear me and see me, please adjust your camera. It is frozen on my screen, and then I will get back to you. Barrister John, it's a pleasure having you here, sir. Good evening.
Good evening, Chris. I'm glad to be here.
All right. Prof. Ayim, it's a pleasure having you, sir.
Always a pleasure, sir. Thank you for inviting me.
All right. Barrister John, let me start this with you. You have listened to my commentary there. Tell me, please, if I'm wrong anyway in that commentary.
No, Chris. That is a very powerful monologue. The only thing I have to say about that is that if talking about the Team Act, it's a very important organization, a coalition to negotiate for our independence, and we are going there with a non-negotiable position of our sovereignty and independence. And if we take anybody now into Team Act who has spent his whole life in this revolution associating with the coalition for surrender and talking federation and talking and killing our people on the ground and doing all kinds of things that do not honor this revolution, if we take them into Team Act now and the time for negotiations comes, can you count on those people? I'm a lawyer. I'm not going to put a witness on the stand that will compromise my case. So that is the only little thing I have to say about that. But the rest of the monologue is a recapitulation of all what has happened There is nobody, there's no government, nobody that has called for collaboration than this interim government. Right from the beginning, right from when Siseko was president, he locked out a lot of people and refused collaboration.
All
But
right.
when Dr. Sako came,
All right,
when Dr. Sako came,
Barrister John, let me hold on with you and get first to Comrade Abdukarim, who is joining from Ground Zero. I know the networks on Ground Zero can be a problem. Now that we get him, let's start with him before I get back to you. Comrade Abdukarim, it's a pleasure having you, sir. I hope you are doing great there on Ground Zero.
Thanks for having me, sir, Secretary. And let me begin by praising God and asking his blessings upon the Prophet and the righteous men and the women, especially those of Southern Cameroon, the suffering people, and to my parents who are here on the panel and yourself.
Please, if you can do me a favor by kind of tilting down your camera so we can get more of you in the camera, that will help. Perfect. That is awesome. So, Comrade Ali, you listen to I guess you listen to my monologue out there, and you know that this subject was first escalated by your write-up. Tell me, having listened to me, where do you think I am wrong, sir?
Well, I wouldn't engage by saying that you're wrong, but I would say that it's a point of view, and we all are composed of our education and our experience, and we all have been educated in different ways, our environment, and
I guess we are having network issues again with Abdul. Abdul, can you hear me? I think you are frozen on the screen and your audio is gone too. All right, if we can't get Karim in right now, we will keep trying. We will keep trying to get him back. Let me get back to Barrister John, Barrister Nsoh out there. Barrister, you listened to Abdukarim. You read what Abdukarim wrote. You also, I guess, read what Sisiku wrote. Cho Ayaba has also come out yesterday writing an opinion about what the kind of collaboration that they all think should be going on. What is your take on what Abdukarim said, on what Sisiku said, and on what Cho Ayaba said?
Well, before I answer that question, I'd like to comment a little bit about what Karim has just said now. The monologue that you have just produced is the position of the interim government. And you are the spokesman for this government. And therefore, it cannot be your opinion. Having said that, let me start with Abdukarim. You remember, Chris, that Abdukarim, working with Siseko, called me up and said, Siseko wants me to apologize to him before he can collaborate with the interim government. And I did tell Karim that I am not going to apologize to Siseko because what I said about his being compromised, I stand by it and I continue to stand by it till I die. Secondly, for Karim to have lumped the leader of the interim government and Siseko and Ayabacho in the same basket, it was tactless. And when Dr. Sako responded to him and asked him, what would you have me do differently? And if you don't tell me what you want me to do differently, I will reevaluate our relationship. Karim replied, he said, start by by hooking on with Seseko Ayuktabe. The question that I have for Karim is, has the position of Ayuktabe changed from me making an apology to him before he can come on to collaborate? You will remember, Chris, that when the ARC was being formed, Yerema was sent by the Seseko Ayuktabe to represent his own side of the story in Switzerland at the cost of the Swiss government. He got to Switzerland, he stayed in the hotel, and Seseko called him back and said he should not attend the meeting, and then left. You also remember that John Baakoro was part of the ARC from the beginning. He never attended one and went on the air and started denouncing the ARC even before it took off. We all know that. For Karim, who got a caveat from Seseko that he will not collaborate with the interim government unless I apologize. What has changed? He failed to tell us that in his write-up. I have read everything that Karim has written. I've read every piece of thing that Karim has written. And I tell you, an intellectual is one who, when he writes, he knows what he's writing about.
All right. Thank you, Barrister. Let me get back to Abdul. I guess he is reconnected. Let's try to give him time because Ground Zero is having a terrible connection. So, Comrade Abdul, I mean, you had your share of the beatings on the social media, and one of the things that you have denounced again and again and again is surrogacy. And now you join this question of collaboration on surrogacy. Tell us, what do you think can be done differently by the leaders of these different movements?
All right, thank you, Secretary Chris. Can you hear me now?
Absolutely, 515.
All right, okay, and I'm sorry you lost me there. Okay, yeah, now before I address this, permit me take a minute on the other question regarding your monologue. Like I said, we all have people from different education and different things that consist of experiences and that basically you are. So I wouldn't say that what is wrong or what is not wrong with the monologue. But I'll say that those are your opinions. And another person will look at it from another perspective. And this is what makes us human beings.
So I guess if you can tell us the perspective at which you look at it will help.
Good. What I'll say is that one thing the leader must know, starting from you and everyone else who is in leadership position, is to be able to define reality and at the end, to say thank you. In between, that leader is a servant. If we go on with this background knowledge, then we have to realize that all of us have fallen short of God's glory and of service to homeland and motherland, Southern Cameroon. We cannot keep digging on our error because nobody is without error in our quest for this freedom. I have engaged almost all across the board, and all of us have heard greatly. But my education does not permit me to attack my brother in public or to even correct them holistically in public. I do that at the background. But there are certain calls one can make publicly. So to me, at a given time, we need to be able to ask ourselves, is this a page we want to turn or we want to close it? I would say let's turn pages. Reconciliation and collaboration have many, many meanings beyond what we see on the dictionary. When people make utterances and statements, it is good to refute them than insult them. We need to stop the argument, the strawman, poisoning the well, leaving what the person is saying, attacking the personality. So I'll leave it at that. But I'll go on to say that regarding surrogacy, if there's one thing that is calling us,
Comrade Abdul, please, let's go back a little bit. You will come back to that. The problem I have is when you have a message to put out, you do not put it out clearly. You put it in parables to the extent that nobody really know who you are talking to. You are just in between, saying something but not saying anything, talking to somebody but not talking to anybody. That is the problem that I really have understanding you. The reason I say so is because I think you have been in this struggle long enough, very long enough, to know who is a problem, who is the problem in this struggle. And so to go out and throw out a statement, oh, Sako should collaborate with that, Sisiko should collaborate with that. Are you not aware that we are where we are today because of somebody, and that somebody is Sisiko? Why can't you call him and say, Sisiko, you have the key, to this collaboration thing. Why not dissolve your so-called government, get your brothers who are free to fight for you and to fight for the struggle? I mean, why have you ever approached Sisiko this way?
All right. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm surprised this is coming from you, Secretary Chris. The last interview I had on ABC was with you when I was in Florida. And I closed my statement by saying the same things you just said to Sisiko. And I actually don't like doing that publicly. And how do you know I've not spoken to him? I've been to Condé 3 times. Likewise, I've seen Dr. Sako for 3 days, 3 nights in Switzerland, and I saw him also in the United States. My conversations with these leaders is not what I must make public. I am a Muslim secretary, and to us, leaders are very important. We don't worship them, but we revere them. I have spoken with them, and when the time comes, they would tell Southern Cameroonians what I've said to them. Secretary Chris, I have, yeah, perhaps, and I agree. Maybe I will learn.
But comrade, in your own, when you talk to two people as you have done, hold on, let's take this precept by precept here. When you talk to two people as you have done, in your own wisdom, you are able to tell who is the problem by what they do, by the things they say, by the way they act. What different? Just clarify us. When you lump Dr. Sako, who has carried out all the initiatives that I mentioned in my monologue, that you all know, when he did what he has done, what would you have done to bring Sisiko to reconciliation, maybe to bring Cho Ayaba to collaboration? What would you have done? Please, let us know.
All right, if you permit me express myself comfortably, because you first of all mentioned me not being able to communicate in a way that would drive the message home. And of course, I'm not boasting to you to know that so much. I'm ready to learn. But the point here is this: I did not write a single message. The first one was titled "Mark for Death." That was my teaser, and I got what I wanted from Southern Cameroon, understanding that we still have stewards in the struggle with all the divergent opinions that we have. I signaled that mark for them. I went to Abdukarim, shut up. And finally, I wrote about the overarching contention. In between that, people have reached out to me and asked what I really mean, and I've even answered. I've even spoken to these leaders in between that. All of them, what I converse with them, if they want to put it on time, it is not my duty. I'm not called on the struggle to reveal what is meant for privacy to the public. What I would have you asked me when I lump all of them together, oh yes, and this is a mistake people make. Are you by any chance telling me that Dr. Sako is faultless altogether, totally and completely? In my opinion, no. Does it mean he's the one at fault at the same time? No. But if he is the president of Southern Cameroon, if he is the president, then he should act presidential and not as a leader of a group which surrogacy have placed him in that corner.
Okay, leader, we get that, comrade. My question to you is, knowing that, my question to you is, you took your message to him, you took your message to Sisiko. Now, seeing that they have not done as much as you expected, the question is, what would you have done differently?
Oh yeah, for example, what I would have done differently, in my opinion, let's take from
Okay.
look from the now and here.
Yes.
Sisiku made a call for collaboration. That call is not an absolute call and it's not a categorical one in opinion. It's a call that specifically addresses the other
Listen
leaders
picks up all
and
those
other stakeholders.
please.
Can you hear me? I'm hearing some.
5 on 5.
And calls other individuals to ensure that the letter is being supported with action. To me, that is something just
You
fair
cannot
and
mute
normal.
him.
You're asking what would I have done if I
cannot mute.
were Dr. Sako? I would thank Sisiku. I would recognize the effort he's made. I will encourage that later in writing, by the way, not via audio, because that is civility. And then I will remind him in a subtle manner that at the same time, the interim government is one and has never been two. So you understand that he's talking about collaboration in great extent. So it is important that we reconcile whatever is wrong with the interim government without necessarily reminding him of his stake in that
Comrade,
and then of
Comrade
course,
Ali.
you're asking me what I would have done,
Yes.
Secretary Chris.
Yes.
You want to see my opinion from me, that I would have acted that way. Me, that's what I would have done.
Okay.
Because secretaries, this is not about the interim government. It is not about AGOTC. It is not about Socrates or any of this movement. It is about all of us, 8 million, who are very angry and very frustrated.
All right. Okay. Thank you for that great answer. That is what I really expected, and I thought that was what you would have included in your write-up out there. But, comrade, we have been in this. We have been in this going to 5 years. 5 years now. And this question of collaboration did not start today. I chronicled it in my talking point. It started from the onset, from Abuja, from Nigeria. Sisiku, when he talked about collaboration, is about bringing the people whom he liked close to him. It has never been genuine. I was at the fourth conclave in Nigeria. I was invited there as an independent candidate. I went there. The conference took place for 4 days. But those of us who were independent candidates and older group leaders were also invited there to come there and sit there for 4 days and only go in on the last day. We were actually brought into that conclave when the resolutions were being edited. They were being edited. But we flew all the way from the USA to Nigeria for that conclave. But we never sat in the deliberations. We put in nothing to what they did. They came out of there, and I was very frank about it, and I wrote about it. But I thought that way, the deed is done. Going forward, we can fix it. But it was never fixed. It was never fixed until the day they were abducted. You never saw them working together with other. In fact, they went unconstituted what they call act, AROCC, I think so, because they were bitter what happened in Abuja. Now he comes out from a set, and they in Kondenge create this so-called try to dissolve the government to create what you call KIG. You will think that he will then get to SEC and try to unite people. No, he divides people. I thought, Comrade Abdul, what you would have done was to say to Sisiku, you know that we are having this crisis now because you started the divisions in the first way. You're endorsing his collaboration means you are acknowledging that indeed there is a group, a government in Konenge. Isn't that what it means? And does it mean when we go to the negotiation table, the Kondenge IG will sit on one side and this other IG sits on the other side? Is that what you are endorsing?
No, and thank you, Secretary Chris, once more, and thank you for all of this education. Flashing back to the conflict and so on. Secretary Chris, when you speak like this, I wonder if you're I am the first person to say here on Ground Zero that it was a mistake by Tisiko to form a group or a government from behind you. Do you remember that at all?
You
I
are
don't
very
know,
correct.
perhaps you do. And so I have sounded that position very well. But this doesn't mean that. So let me use an analogy. Today we have the church which has gone so big with many churches among in between the church. So much so that if they elect the 12, if they came here and Apostle Paul himself, they will not recognize what the church is today. But this doesn't mean that we will forget the work we did in spreading the gospel in 30 days, and they also will not minimize the job that the church is doing today. Did they make mistakes? Yes. Is the church making mistakes? Yes. But I'm sure that all of them will work together to make the church better. This is my overarching position. I'm on Ground Zero. I've traveled to North America. I've met many of my comrades. I'm able to sample opinions. And my job is only to prove what is positive. And you don't know, Secretary, what I see.
Comrade, I think you are a little bit making the rounds there. I'm afraid you are essentially saying, even though you acknowledge Sisiko's position, that it was wrong, you then went ahead to legitimize it by saying he's now calling for collaboration. Instead of saying, Sisiko, please, Ambazonians want you to dissolve that thing because it is the one causing divisions. Why couldn't you say this or approach it this way?
So can you let me speak, Secretary Chris? And I've told you that my opinion is mine, my approach is mine based on my education. Look, I wrote 4 theses, but all your exegesis here is coming from one. Can you follow all my theses? And the last one, collaboration is with other groups like Egg of Eve, with IG is with now, and it's the same mistake we make with books like the Bible. We make the people's statement. To understand what the person is saying in a particular time, we must view it in context. If you view me in context, I'm dealing with a very complex situation where people have built surrogacy to an extent where we cannot differentiate between surrogacy and the incubator. I have to take it step by step. But I barely speak here in Canada. I am working with many Southern Cameroons on the job of the continuation and collaboration with different.
Comrade Abdul, I don't like it when you ask a question, people go round and round and round and round. You have acknowledged that you have made mention of it before, that you were very clear what Sisiko did was wrong. And now you come a few months or maybe a year down the way, and you are acknowledging when he says collaboration. Doesn't that mean legitimizing one wrong to keep it? What is wrong in being frank enough to Sisiko in saying, Sisiko, the Ambazonians outside don't like what you have done and what you are doing. Please dissolve this thing. Come and let's negotiate how we can. Let's reconcile and work together. The word is reconciliation. We can talk collaboration with Ayaba. We can talk collaboration with maybe other movements, but not with Sisiko, who's supposed to be part of this.
Dr. Chris, would you empty your mind and get my answers, please? You have already presuppositions. I'm asking Southern Cameroonians and you here, between myself and Sisiko, who made the call first. When you say I come out and endorse Sisiko, you're sounding as though Sisiko's call came before mine. That is a mistake. Mine came on
no, I say so based on what you are saying here now. It's not then. I'm saying so based on what you are saying now. You are not ready to say, Sisiko, the way to go is reconciliation. Reconciliation means starting in Kondenge and reconciling with all the Tassans and the rest who are in there. We come out and we reconcile. What is wrong with that?
Nothing is wrong with that, but I'm not going to say it here simply because you're asking me to say it. I've asked you a question. Are you sure I've not said this to Sisiko? You don't know. Must I say it publicly? The answer is no. That is not my forte. I've given you the answer clearly. Unfortunately, you're not getting the answer. You don't know if I've not said that to Sisiko. You don't know if I've not spoken with Patterson. You don't even know what I'm going to do tomorrow.
But you have read what Patterson wrote and mentioning you in particular, right? Have you read that?
Of course, Patterson is entitled to his opinion. What I'm saying is that As you're asking for patience from all Southern Cameroonians, be patient with efforts coming from people like myself. I may not do it the way you want it, but I think I have good cause on doing it the way the way I think it deserves to be done. So basically, Secretary Chris, I hear you and I hear you well, and I'm not mincing words. I'm not rolling around questions. I've given you answers, and again, I'm not that type that spews nonsense in public. All of these people are my leaders, and in Islam, leadership is very important. Besides that, they are my elders. I have two enemies. Once I'm sure that you are an enabler, you are an enemy. Like I think is enemy number one. Once I'm sure that you're an enabler, you are an enemy. Until then, anybody who is a comrade to me, especially the elders, I treat them that way.
Are you concerned, though, Comrade Ali, are you concerned that the same people who were cheering you up yesterday out here are now describing you as an enabler?
Well, that is okay. Come on, I will not be the first, and they can describe me whatever they want. Someone even called me once that I'm a Hindu, but the truth is that I'm a Muslim. Look, if you have yellow fever and you perceive me as yellow, I'm not the problem. You are the problem. So you better, and that's why Jesus Christ said, you better remove the log from your eye so that you can see the dust in someone's eye. Of course, people can say that, and Southern Cameroonians of good faith know me. Even if they don't know me, Almighty God knows my heart and recognizes that no one brought me into the struggle. No one made the call to Abdukarim to start talking on TV or to go to on the 22nd of September 2017 to plan a flag. No one did that. God directed me. So fine, if people call me in the blood, that's fine. But I'm sure those very people, if they'll do a retrospect of themselves, they'll realize that perhaps they are worse than them. And they need to tell me what I've enabled. The genocide of our people or what?
Well, let me bring in Barrister John and Prof. Ayim to see if they have any thing to add or to say about your responses there. Let me come in with Barrister John. I see your camera all over the place. Are you okay, sir? All right. So you have listened to Comrade Ali there defending his positions. Do you have anything to say there?
I am very, very shocked with the position that my junior man, the person I call my son, the position that he has thrown this revolution into right now. First, let me say this. I don't think Comrade Abdukarim represents ground zero much more than any other person. So he cannot speak for 8 million people. Secondly, this interim government does not have surrogates. It has a spokesman who is the Secretary of State for Communication, and anything that the interim government wants to say to our people, it goes through the spokesman. Nobody is a surrogate to the interim government, as far as I know. But different groups, I'm not talking about Siseko because I don't consider Siseko any group. I'm talking about the groups themselves, they have their surrogates, which is a normal thing. Let them have their surrogates. For Abdukarim to say that he's making a distinction between the interim government and its surrogates, I don't know who he calls the surrogates of the interim government. Number two, Abdukarim has not answered the question I raised, because this is not the first time he is talking about collaboration.
What is the question that you raised?
Yes, he called me up and tell me to apologize to Ayuktabe, and I told him over my dead body. And he said, Ayuktabe said, until I apologize, he will not collaborate with the interim government. That has been his position. This position that Ali has taken, how has he managed to take this position without evacuating what Siseko said? I want to say this. I made a statement that as an intellectual, when you want to engage in this kind of debate, you should have your facts. I am not so sure Abdukarim knows the facts right from the fourth conclave up to now that where we are. From his declarations, from all what he has written, that I have read very, very carefully, because he is my son. I cannot refuse that. He is a member of ACT without being a political leader of any movement because of collaboration. He is now saying that he represents Ground Zero. But he forgets that those of us who campaigned for him to be taken to Switzerland to avoid his being arrested are now regretting to have done what we did. And I don't see where Karim is coming from. If he wants to join the coalition for surrender, which is what we are afraid of. I'm afraid of it because I don't want my son to be mixed in that type of thing. But if he is minded to do that, he cannot drag everybody into his mess. You have made your point. You have lumped Dr. Sako, Sesoko Ayutabe, and Ayabacho together. And you told the president of the interim government that he should start by reaching out to Ayutabe. When you called me, what was the reason for calling me? Because Dr. Sako reached out to Ayutabe, and Ayutabe gave the condition that I must apologize. Now
all right, Barrister John,
the whole public and not answering the question. What would you have done differently from Dr. Sako that you lump all of them together?
Okay, you have said quite a number of things there. Let me see if Abdul is still connected, because I'm seeing his screen freezing on and off. Let him give him a chance to respond to you. Abdul, please.
Sorry, can you hear me, Secretary?
Yes, please.
This is rather unfortunate, and I want to thank the barrister. I did, and please, if by any chance the campaign, as barrister says, the campaign for me to go to Switzerland and so that I should not be arrested, if by any chance God has not rewarded them for that, I mean, God rewarded them for that. It's a good thing they did. And then secondly, barrister got it totally and completely wrong. Maybe he forgot. I wouldn't say he's lying. Maybe he forgot that I called a meeting after I went to prison. I called a meeting. I didn't call him. This meeting was with him, Dr. Sako, and Patasan, with myself. I made sure Patasan was there so that I don't forget whatever I had as a meeting with the narrator. I didn't tell Barrister to apologize to Sisiko. I told him what I have done has worked, and this is what Sisiko has given me as message to tell him that please, if he is not sure about him being compromised, that statement should be withdrawn. Then
That is not correct. That is not correct. That is not what you told me. You said that Ayutabe wants me to apologize because what I said about him being compromised was wrong. And I said I will not, because what I said was correct. And I stand by it till today.
Yeah, so Secretary, please, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go on.
All right, so that meeting didn't go well because, like Barrister said, he said he wasn't going to apologize. He wasn't going to withdraw the statement. I said, well, that's fine. And Patterson was there. The meeting I was talking about, Patterson was in the meeting with me in Potengi. Whilst we met by Trapu, Patterson was there. I said, well, I wouldn't have done service and justice to the people if I went to talk to Sisiko and then he gives me a message for you and then I don't bring it back to you. I brought the message and that is my job. And for those who read Patterson's later, part of it would have been captured inside. That is all I have to say. By Trapu, who is my father here on debate. I don't do that. I didn't join the struggle for that. I'll not engage on that. And yes, of course, I'll do research when I want to come to debate. But please do not tell me this was a debate. I didn't know that. And what am I really debating about? My opinion. I want to try to debate about my opinion. And coalition for surrender. And Secretary Chris, can you remind me where I said
Comrade Ali, Comrade Ali, if I may, say this, if I may bring this up.
No, Secretary Chris, don't do this. Don't do this. Don't get me. Have I said I represent Ground Zero? Did I say that?
No. That's not what I'm talking about. Forget about that. I'm not going there. That's not a subject to me.
Can you correct Barrister Pro? Can you correct Barrister Pro that I did not say that?
I don't want to correct him. I don't know the discussion both of you have had. I mean, I cannot. I don't know what you guys have discussed. But I would like to say this. I like to say this.
Look, Chris. You need to read Abdukarim's first outing on this collaboration thing. You will understand what I'm talking about.
Okay. Comrade Abdu, have you heard people, I mean the people to whom you were a darling until recently saying, they see you like somebody who want to put your legs everywhere and be nowhere. Do you see a problem in that when people begin to say that?
Oh yes, of course there's a problem, but the last I checked, Jesus Christ was not welcome even in his own city. Neither was Muhammad. So of course, I want this.
You can never be Jesus Christ nor Muhammad, right?
No, of course. But if you allow me to make my point, then you get the point I'm making. I'm not comparing myself to those two. I'm saying that when they would engage me in not my person, in the things I do and in the arguments I put, then I would learn. But this is again the surrogates. And by the point said the ID doesn't have surrogates. This is laughable. I mean, we have to be honest and do these things.
All right. Let's get to the question of. Let's get to the subject of that surrogacy. I will come to that. It's an interesting one. But before we get there, Prof. Ayim has been quite silent here. Let me bring him in to tell us what is his thought on this collaboration thing. Of course, he is speaking the position of the interim government, I guess. Prof. Ayim, you have listened to all these, read the letters from Kondenge, from Abdu, and from, I guess, from Ayaba. What is your take, sir, on all of this?
Okay, Secretary Chris, thank you very much for the questions. In the interest of the interim government and based on our tradition, I would like us to please let's observe a minute of silence. This was not done. I'd like us to observe a minute of silence for our heroes on Ground Zero, the restoration forces, the refugees, and the internally bereaved families, prisoners of conscience. I'd like us to observe a minute of silence before I move on. Please, start now.
All right, move on, please.
Oh, thank you. To go on, I'd like Ambazonians to know that are their servants in the interim government. We're serving you, and we're hearing you. And I'd like Ambazonians to know that I have a wealth of experience. I have been in this struggle since the 90s and up to now. And I have served in every government that has been out there, and that the interest of this struggle is paramount to me. Now, listen, what unites any group of people is the goal. Let's look at the goal of this struggle. Why are we in this struggle? What is the goal? A restoration of independence and sovereignty, and the recognition of Southern Cameroon and Amazonia as a country. If we, groups, whatever, are not united, and if they don't share this goal, they don't deserve any collaboration or unity. Right now, We have all pro-independence Amazonians, groups and people united as the Amazonian Coalition. These are pro-independence people. I view all Amazonians are important. Abdul, I respect your opinion. Abdul, I respect you as a person. But we, as the interim government, we have to do what it has to do to realize the goal as the people have entrusted us to do. So this is, you cannot be talking about collaboration when you don't share the same goal. Pro-independence and enablers, we cannot collaborate. We can reconcile things like our president said about collaboration when we don't share the same goal. They are what they are. We are what we are. 95% of the people want independence. Anything short of this, we are not even going to start tapping. It's out of the show. Enablers, federalists, one Cameroon people, you are on your side. Me, I don't care what you say on that side. I look for those who are willing and are sharing our goal. And so that's what we stand for. So after exchanges, I don't want us to get into semantics and talking and all this when people are dying, houses are being burned, 8 million people want us to get independence and recognition. We're here talking about what someone thinks and what someone's into semantics. To me, that is not straight shooting. The interim government is focused. I'm talking about the one and only interim government. We are focused. We want to deliver. We want our productivity to speak for us. When people go that low, we keep going higher and higher. It's what we do towards the attainment of the goal that will speak for us. Okay, some people have taken their point of duty. They're just enjoying themselves making audios and videos and creating lies, fabricating things. I did not think our people went out October 1 the way they went. For someone to wake up from sleep and make an audio, fabricate an audio or switch off to try to control the narrative of the people.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Let's get back to two more things, then I will get to the subject of Abdul's book, and then we will get to a different subject. Two more things. There is this surrogacy thing that Abdul raised. But before we get to that, Comrade Abdul, and to every one of you there, if we are talking about collaboration, why should we have ARC, Ambazonia Coalition Team, why is collaboration not necessary within that group, within ARC? I will start with Abdul because I think he has brought this thing about collaboration. Let's talk about it. Why can't we pursue? I mean, Abdul, you are a member of the ARC. Why can't you talk to some of these groups to join the ARC? Because the fears have always been, we don't want somebody to dominate. We don't want somebody to dominate. We have now been in ARC for about a year or so, and nobody is dominating the order or swallowing the order. Don't you think that should be the place we should be campaigning for collaboration? Abdul, please.
Yes, Secretary, of course. This is, if you well, you were not there in Switzerland last September, but if you ask those who were there, they will tell you how the word act came about. That said, Secretary, we must face reality. Reality is that we don't have certain group in art for reasons that you and I know. Now, for them to come into art, which they consider, they have a misconception that art is by and large the idea. First, we must fix the things outside art before we bring people into an act that they don't even understand, which they misconstrue origin. And please, again, water shall find its level. Water shall find its level. All of these leaders would tell you, I had to go on my
Comrade, listen,
knees. But
comrade
let
Ali,
me answer.
I can allow you just
This is not.
move on.
If you
No,
want
see,
me
this
to
is the
take my
point.
leave,
This is
then
the
that's
point
fine.
because
Why would you let me talk?
hold on. I will allow you speak. I
I
will
don't
allow
get
you
it.
speak. I think it is
No, I don't get it.
erroneous.
When others are speaking, you allow them speak. But you stop me within the first minute.
No,
I'm just too respectful to
Abdul,
stay on like this.
listen,
This is wrong.
listen. I am the
When you ask
moderator.
me
I
a
am the
question,
moderator here. When I ask a question, you
let
answer the
me make
question. I allow
let me
you
make a
speak. But I
fool
don't
of
like it
myself
when
with
you
my
are making
answers.
the rounds. This is what I wanted
Yeah.
to say. This is what I wanted to say. You were in Switzerland. I wasn't there. But here you are saying that all these other groups feel like ACT is all about the IG. But you know for sure, Abdul, that you were in Switzerland with the AGC. You were there with Yerima. You were there with Rao. How can you sit here and say they all think that it is about the IG? All of you were there. They refused collaboration. They walked out. How can you now sit here and say they think it is all about the IG? Who invited them to Switzerland? The IG?
Let
So
me
are you
chime
done,
in here.
Secretary Chris, now?
No,
Are you done?
so let Abdul speak, please.
Are you done?
I'm done, please.
All right. So Secretary Chris, I mean, just for the record, I didn't meet Yerima in Switzerland. That was not the meeting. I went for the third one, and Yerima was not there. You're asking me questions, and please permit me give you my answers. Let me make a fool of myself with my answers. What I'm saying is that if you ask Pakistan, which is not who we talk I basically went on my knees to call for the Nigerians to get into act. You're asking why can't I ask them to come there? Talk to Dr. Cho and ask him how many times I've come to him to sell act and others. I will not go into details. That has not worked. And I see the reasons they keep giving. They think I said, I'm not saying that that is it, that's it. They think art is another idea. Now I say, okay, look, it's very important to fix the IG and see where strategically IG can collaborate with other. If I am wrong, if what I'm saying is trash and it doesn't make sense, why are we talking about it for the past 2 weeks? You know why? Because many Southern Cameroonians think about it, they don't know how to talk about it. I'm happy that the subject is now on the table. I don't have all the ideas, perhaps I don't even have 10%. But very important that it is being spoken about. Because it is when we will recognize that it is not about any single individual or any group to say, but it's about 8 million people and their survival. Until then we will be working in our own vision. So I've done that, secretaries, and I do recognize art. I've done that, I'm doing that. I will never come to say what I've done because I'm not doing it to have applause or to have likes and Facebook. I do it for humanity, for my people, and for God. I'm doing it, and I have to change here. I can't repeat the same thing over and over, making the same error, expecting a different result.
All right.
Approaches have to change.
All right. I think we are
Okay?
speaking the same language, comrade. It is just the it is just the, yes, the direction that is a little bit different because again, uh, we cannot be talking about collaboration and we have a forum for collaboration in ARC. And people are sitting out talking about collaboration when they should just walk in and be part of the process. As I mentioned before, you have the ACNC in there. Capo is there, Pandangam, Chris Intang with, or Atang with Scam. You have Roa was there and the APLM is there. That is where every group that matters meet and collaborate. And that has been going on for 2 years. I'm afraid that all this talk about collaboration is about having the IG surrender. Now, let's talk about this surrogacy. Barrister John and Prof. Ayim, please hold on there. Let's talk about this surrogacy. Uh, Comrade Karim, You have talked about surrogacy as coming from both sides. That is very, very true. But you know, as I do, that there are people out there that if we had our way, our chance, we would be able to tell them, stop that, your nonsense. I mean, you hear the fabrications. There is a guy out there, irrelevant guy out there, who is framing up a thing to say every day, framing up something to say every day. I mean, I'm sure you heard the audio today where supposedly Secretary Chris was saying that the Swiss initiative is a sham. The Swiss are just working for La Republique. They go and join pieces of audios together to make sense, and they put it out there. And I was asking if I mean, there was a video in the background of that thing. If I actually said that, imagine, wouldn't it have made sense for him to just play just that video clip so people can actually see me speaking? He inserts an audio on top of a video. You only hear the voice and see a different video in the background. And some people are so foolish to even think about it, take it. So you know all these things. There are things you and I, we can't stop them. Even if we say to the surrogates on our own side, okay, please stop it. What would you do? What would you do to the surrogate on the other side? Please, I beg for your answer there.
That is me, right? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Secretary Chris. Okay, yeah. Yeah, sure. You're right. Yes, and I heard those audios. And the person you're talking about, I'm sure you don't want to give him some publicity by naming him. So
of course not.
Oh, yeah, no. Sure. That is his forte. He has been proven beyond doubt to be a very ill-mannered person, insult others and women and everyone. Yeah, so that is nonsense, because I know your position about this process. I know your contribution to making it, to advance it. I know that. So, well, that audio is nonsense. And by the way, it doesn't cover the complete conversation in that text, so I don't regard it as anything tangible. That said, when it comes to surrogacy, Secretary Chris, surrogacy in itself is nothing bad, but negative surrogacy is unhealthy. My country people, them, that idiot in England, 90% of his content. Hello? Hello?
I can hear you. Go on, please.
All right, okay. 90% of my country people's content does not come because he has any intel facility. It comes by way of our own surrogacy. Negative surrogacy is so bad that we have infiltrators in our struggle. But when I make the call for surrogacy, I've never made the call against surrogacy from one group only or from the I've times without number, even in my last write-up, say that, for example, one of the ways we can agree to collaborate is by all the leaders denouncing surrogacy in their name or in the name of organizations or institutions that they represent. Nobody should insult or attack anyone by the name of the IG or by the president's name, for example. That is what I said. That way, once we find anybody insulting, we are able to know that that is an infiltration. And if all the leaders did that, sir, we will have an atmosphere where people can think. When you see even the comments on our show now, you can see an angry people who are 100% ignorant. All they rely on is corporate value information that they see from other surrogates and other activities on Facebook. So the principle and I know deeper than this. And you can tell them that what we need in act is not what they think. You can tell them that what I do for even after this is not what they have on Facebook. The struggle is beyond Facebook, it's beyond WhatsApp. Negative surrogacy has to be shown. It has not helped, it will not help. But the thing is that what I've come to realize, sadly enough, including with the IG that I have bled for, you know that, you know that very well, including with the IG seems to be listening and being led by surrogate instead of the IG leading the surrogate. I'm sorry to say this, but that is what it seems.
No, no, I think that is an overstatement. I think that is an overstatement because you do not know what myself personally is doing and has done in the background to some of these activists. You will be shocked to know that I have called some of their bluff off. You will not know. See, the problem, comrade, is on both sides. Not on both sides. When you have a situation where you have La Republic giving money to activists to just make sure that they mess up the whole thing. They attack everybody, especially whom they think is not reasoning like that. How can you control somebody who has taken money, who is acting under the influence of that money? So it is very, very unrealistic. We can always say every activist out there try to be responsible. Listen, activists have said things that I just wonder. I have said to them again and again and again, don't go out and write nonsense or put nonsense that you don't know. Don't say things that you could easily call to verify before putting them out. You have our phone numbers. Call us, ask questions. When you go out with authentic information. But when you just develop the habit of going there to say what you want to say because you think it may make you popular or get some 500 people watching you, it's nonsense, pure nonsense. And that doesn't intimidate any of us. So you are right about surrogacy, but the bigger problem we have is when La Republic is putting money in the hands of some of them and they dance the way of La Republic so that we are all messed up, right? It's a difficult thing to do. And you also have a situation where the activists, I call your name, and tomorrow you come out, you call my name, and in defense of your side. You cannot stop that. But I think adults should just be adults and focus on doing that which is right. That's what I believe. Yes, Abdul.
You're right, Secretary Chris. And you're very right. And perhaps that was an overstatement, which I said that I do listen more to surrogates than otherwise. But the point I want to make is that, Secretary Chris, listen. In my estimation, the difficulty the negative surrogacy has brought is that we are unable to put our hands on infiltrators. But if all leaders, for example, will be able to collaborate on that part only to begin with, making public statements that nobody should attack or insult any other comrade by their name or with the institution they represent, we would know, for example, that if someone would do it, we will all call him an infiltrator. But the mere fact that the leaders are silent, people using their institutions and their names to attack others, is a way of indulging such actions. And like this, it makes it difficult for us to know exactly who, like you said, like what is possible, who, like you said, have been paid to do propaganda and publicity stuff. We cannot know. Most of the negative things we see on our platform are those focus. These both type go through. It's either yours or not yours. How do you know? But which sound Southern Cameroonian will install another Southern Cameroonian fighting for the struggle? I doubt. Except someone who wants to see us divided. Because definitely, man, a house is divided against itself cannot stand.
Well, you know that even in La Republic they don't agree, right? You and I will have heard again and again that in Yaoundé there are factions, those that want to resolve this conflict and those who just want it to go on. I think that is the same thing we find in our faction, and we should not be looking for perfection or some unity in this struggle. I think I have grown to that resolve. Ours is not the first struggle we have seen. Even in the USA, there were blacks who were for slavery to continue, maybe because they were benefiting out of it. In South Africa, you had the Buthelezis who were there siding with the white minority who just wanted the blacks to remain in bondage. Everywhere you find this, but I just think the solution in this is let the leaders remain focused and do what they have to do to deliver this struggle, because if we fail, and God forbid, we will never again have any chance to raise our voice. Let me bring in Prof. Ayim into this conversation. Prof. Ayim, please, come in on this question of surrogacy. You've been sitting out there a little bit. Tell us, what is your take out there?
Yes. Comrade Abdul has made two sweeping statements here that really beg for the question: is this the Abdul's over here and I had a conversation with him, or is a different Abdukarim? Let's talking about act. Let me make that clarification before this they call surrogacy. Listen, the has taken its message to all Ambazonians, starting with town halls in China, town hall in Europe, and town hall in the Americas, with massive attendance by Ambazonians, and all questions were asked, and all these things about whether it's IG-led or not were clarified. I'm wondering whether my comrade Abdul listening to all these town halls, because I forwarded to Comrade Abdul every single flyer that came out, because I built confidence in him when he was over here. He knew about these town halls, and he is basically talking here about IG's act. That is not Abdukarim. I knew. Okay, talking about surrogacy, he made a statement that surrogates are leading the IG. I am telling you, Comrade Abdul, not the IG I am serving in. We have high standard IG, and we look forward to leading people in a way, in a prestigious way. We don't believe in name calling. Okay? Name calling and holding them down is very unhealthy. This IG doesn't have that as a value. And the IG doesn't have control over anybody going out to the media to write anything or to make his video. That is freedom of speech in a democracy where we are. And the democracy we're trying to build for Amazonia is for speech. You cannot control people writing what they write. But they don't make the video or audio or Sako or on behalf of the IG. So if you take a supporters and activists video and you want to blame that on the IG or Sako, you are wrong. Totally wrong. That's a sweeping step. Surrogates can be positive or negative. But whatever it is, it is. We have to stay focused on the goal instead of controlling individual behaviors. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Ayim, and I will move to one other subject before we get to Karim's book out there, so that we may use that to round up. And I am talking about what I have described as the news trend. I mean, blackmail and sabotage, leaks and attacks. The new trend in the struggle. For a few days running now, a particular irrelevant activist out there in this struggle continue to put out audios and sometimes videos taken from meetings particularly held here in this Department of Communications at the interim government. And yours truly's voice has been heard in some of those leakages. I really don't want to call them leakages, ladies and gentlemen, because it is not like we should hold meetings and then record them and put them out there. We hold meetings in the open. The meetings are recorded for posterity maybe and just preserve in there. If we want to put them out, fine. We don't want to put them out, but there is nothing that is a secret. There is nothing that is a secret in what we do. That is why I feel very proud and not the least embarrassed by any audio that the enablers think that they put out there. But let me talk about the one that they put out today, the so-called video of Chris Anu condemning the Swiss initiative. Ladies and gentlemen, do not be fooled for a concoction that audio or video, whatever it is. If you listen or watch that little clip is not up to 30 seconds. Prof, I don't know whether you guys have watched it or listened to it. That clip is not up to 30 seconds. Now, ladies and gentlemen, listen to me. There are two things in that clip. There is a video clip behind the voice that you hear, which is my voice, Chris Anu's voice. Then in the background of that voice is a video that's supposed to be a Zoom meeting that was, organized, one of the Zoom meetings held by the Ambazonia Coalition team. You see me in the background in that video. But the audio you listen to, that suppose that is my voice, you think that it is inserted in that video footage so that you think that Chris is speaking in an ARC meeting. That audio you listen to in that clip is not coming from that ARC meeting. I am not so sure it is coming from there, because I do not for once remember that statement in that little clip there. What I am very certain about, what I'm very convicted about is this. If you listen a little bit carefully, again, the entirety of that clip doesn't run for 30 seconds. How do you imagine that just for 30 seconds, Chris Anu is in a meeting, and he pops into the meeting and says, oh, the Swiss are working for La République du Cameroon. They are all working for La République du Cameroon. They are just setting us up. Just for less than 30 seconds. Think about that. Just for less than 30 seconds. You will expect, if that was what I said, I would have done some expansion on it. I would have spoken for maybe 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, expanding on what you hear there. It is not there. I don't remember saying that anywhere. What I believe is this. That thing, that audio has probably been taken and cut into pieces and then joined together to make a little sense that Chris is saying the Swiss are out there fighting for La République du Cameroon. And so the ARC is no good. It's fooling Ambazonians. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a big concoction out there. Let me challenge those irrelevant guys out there doing this. Let me challenge them. If you are very, very serious with your leaks, why not just put, you are showing a video of me in the background. Why not just put the video out there and let them see my lips moving and saying the things that you have put out there? Why do you have to insert an audio over a video, and the audio in the video is muted and only the inserted audio is on? Or why not just put the entire clip, so that everyone maybe can get the context, the whole context of that clip? Hey, ladies and gentlemen, think about that. That thing out there is a concoction, and let me tell you, out there, they have been doing this repeatedly. The other day, they came out with some other fake receipts. Oh, Chris Anu sister had 61 million or 62 million in her account at the time she was arrested in Yaoundé. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, remember, when my sister was first picked up, the announcement was they found 350 million. In fact, some of the newspapers published it. They found 360 million in her bank account. If now they have reduced it to 161 million, they owe us a balance. Yes, If they have reduced it to that amount, 161 million, what happened with the 350? They owe us a balance. That money is not enough. And if need be, we will sue for the balance. So I am saying this, ladies and gentlemen, to let you know, all these concoctions out there do not by any means trouble any one of us. Yesterday, that little less than 30-second video was advertised as if the world was coming to end on Chris Anu, right? Ladies and gentlemen, we are still here. We will defend this struggle with the last drop of blood in our veins. You can trust that. We are not the ones to be intimidated. And those who think that they can frame up things and concoct things and have their way and have the Chris Anus and the Circles putting their resignation, you are mistaken. You are very, very mistaken. Keep on putting out your leaks thinking that we are going to walk away from here. We're not going anywhere. Until Ambazonia say, Chris, you're no longer doing a good job. Can you step aside? We'll be honored to do that. But for the time being, we will just focus in doing what we are doing. And let me get back to Abdul. Abdul, your video is very dark there. Are you still there? It's very dark. I don't know what happened. But I guess you can hear me.
We've got a lot
your video is very dark. I don't know what happened. You went out of light or what?
Yes, low voltage, not totally and completely.
Oh, you went out of lighting. Oh, your electricity is off. All right. So I will give you a few minutes to comment on this. I mean, this is part of the surrogacy we were talking about.
A very bad one. And I'm surprised that you make it a totally and completely big subject here. We shouldn't pay attention to immaterial things like this. This one, I take the authority because I know your contributions within the act. I know what you say within the act. I know the context. I can say that offhand. So it is immaterialism. But this is what I'm saying. This clown, so to say, claims Sisiku is his leader. So the kind of collaboration I'm asking, for example, in that regard, Sisiku being his leader, not president of IG for now, is just to say that stop insulting people by thinking that you're helping me or what I represent. So that even other followers of Sisiku will know that this person is totally and completely on his own, and we can capitalize on the fact that this is an inquisition and nothing else than that. And if the IG, Dr. Saku, can also make a statement like that, Dr. Cho can make a statement like that, having nobody. You know, if you remember, I was in Canada, and so it for age of 2, formed a story. You remember that story? Needless to say, about me and Dr. Saku still. All of these things have to stop. Almost all of negative surrogacy is a speculation for a lie. Serious lies that can land people into jail or can take their head. What are we doing to ourselves? So yes, I totally agree with you. That is bad, and I can put my voice to say that I know your contributions within the act, and you've never made such a statement in that context of the audio which is flying in the air. I know the contributions, and that they are far and different from what that. And just one thing, Secretary, please, I want you to use your voice to correct my father, Professor Ayim. Chris, did I say that act is IG or I said something else? Please remind me of what I said.
You said you think that they are not joining ACT because they think ACT is IG.
Thank you. That's what I said.
All right, let me bring Prof. Ayim in. Prof. Ayim, please.
Yes. Hello, Chris?
Yes, I can hear you. Go on.
What do you want me to say here?
The point of surrogacy and all these fabrications, the new way out there, the way of blackmail, sabotage, leaks, and attacks, the new trend that is out there. What is your call on that?
My call on that is there is so much to be wasting so much time to be wasting trying to distract people from the real goal of the struggle. And the question I ask them, or I see any video or hear any audio out there, is how does this contribute to our attaining the goal of independence, sovereignty, and recognition of our country? If it doesn't contribute to the goal, it is useless. It's a waste of my time, and I just look at them as noisemakers, and I really don't pay attention to them. There is some of them are just specialized in making audios, videos, trying to say Sako is this, IG is that. They're just specialized on that and not putting anything substantial that can move the struggle vertically. I will tell you a list of things, achievements of the IG that to float out there, and that those activists that tend to promote the IG, I tell them this IG has achieved a lot of need to boast and brandish out there and educate the people. State the IG policy. We are to lead. It's a challenge. For example, Guns Unity in Action, the Restoration Forces, October 1 should even be an example. People are united towards ghost towns. They take instruction from the IG. Success in the February 9 election lockdown and a boycott, and successful October 1 Independence Day celebration, and a successful draft, world draft to fund the counties, and the formation of the governing system that has the grassroots in mind. That is the LGA by LGA, county by county governance system. IG has these things to brandish. Where do we have the time to be responding to individuals or attacking or surrogacy? Please promote the agenda of the IG. We have a lot to talk about that should bring our people together so we can focus. And after October 1, move forward and realize the goal and get to Boya and stop distractions. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Prof. Ayim and Comrade Abdul. Let us get to the subject of your book. And before I get there, I'd like to say congratulations. Congratulations for putting out the book, which is titled 70 times 7. 70 times 7 times. Why, sir? Why, sir? I have gone through the content chapters, and I found out that it is essentially a kind of a self-help book that you have out there trying to motivate others to achievement. What is the motivation behind this, sir? Can you tell us the motivation behind the book, please, Comrade Ali?
Oh yes, Chris, thank you so much. This is actually my experience. As you know, I did management also, and before the struggle got so wide, this was part of my job. Restructuring companies and doing job descriptions and setting marketing models for them, and also helping individuals to have what you call product knowledge and corporate training to gain first jobs. So all of these ideas have been in my mind, and I thought that, well, we are in a struggle that takes lives, and even without that, we are going to die. So why not pen down these ideas? And that's how I decided to pen it down. It's a pocket book that less than 200 pages. They're just for motivation, for inspiration, and enablement. It talks about the religion, talks about management, time management, attitude at work, how to make a to-do list, and other subjects which are very interesting, marriage, women, mothers, and so on. So it goes as quickly because you can read from any chapter. The beauty is that you can only not read one chapter and do it halfway. You have to finish one chapter before taking the other. But you don't need to start from one. You can start from anywhere, and you can travel with it.
All right. How many chapters are there? I mean, how many pages are there?
Yes, for now we have 198 pages, but I'm going to do some further reduction, which may bring it to 150. Yeah, because
So you
when
have
I
to go
when I
back to
do
the
the
printing
reduction,
press?
oh yeah, no, it has not been mass produced. This what we have now is a sample copy, which I'm proofreading and
Oh,
doing
okay.
some reduction. Yes,
So
and then
it's not
after that,
available
of
for
course,
sale yet.
but I mean the. Oh, yes, not yet. And by the way, we are in a struggle, so no much money for sales like that. But the most important thing I want to do is that let's have this book, which I'm doing, and then redacted, and already the template for mass production is there. You can always do it, but the job has been done. Still and continue. And
Are you going
it
to
will be
sell
available
this
in
as
no
a hard
distant time.
copy or you're going to have it digitally printed?
Oh yes, yeah. Advice have come both ways. For the ground here, many people want the hard copies; they prefer that. But with time, we are going to see the possibility to have it perhaps on a platform like Amazon, or maybe in the bank to do some advice.
Okay, comrade, thanks about that. When the book is finally out on circulation, let me know so I can inform people who would be interested to get a copy.
Thank you so much, Secretary Chris, and thank you for the help.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. You have a great evening there on ground zero.
Yeah, a better one for you. And I pray that God brings us to the best of understanding. We are all working in between God. The mistakes that I might have made in work, may that be forgiven. But I pray that we should not engage these things with emotion. People should go back and listen to what has been said again. Because when you engage as a follower, as a listener to programs like this, you are taken off by your own emotions and by the things that you processing in your mind. But when you sit back and follow the conversation, I'm sure you'll be in a better place to advise the company. And also, this goes also in the to the panel. I was honored to be with them. And again, they should listen to what I said so that I'm not missing the speaker. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, sir, and I look forward to having you again one of these days. One of these days. And Prof. Ayim, thank you for coming on, sir. I look forward to seeing you again, also.
Thank you. Can I just make a quick comment about
Yes,
the
sir.
book?
Go on quickly.
Cover? I just, the catching title, I see something there 70 times, 70 times wiser. That's a very good, it's a biblical statement that has to do with forgiveness. And I cannot read the content of a book from the cover, but I think this is a statement to the right direction. The question and the comment here is, if a brother, a comrade, cannot apologize for a wrongdoing, that comrade is not enhancing forgiveness and forgetfulness. So this comes with apologize when you are wrong. You've wronged a whole people, 8 million people, and they say you are wrong. You have to apologize. That is a gentlemanly way to go about things. And that is what can foster collaboration. And stop forming bogus groups. Apologize to the people, lie low, and the wood trigger as a wise man will forgive you and get you into the fold. Thank you. Chris, are you there?
hearing me. Again, ladies and gentlemen, again, the phone lines are open. The phone lines are open, but before you call, make sure that you turn down the volume of your set. Before you call, make sure you turn down the volume of your set so that I can pick your call. I like to hear from Ground Zero. Ground Zero, please pick up the phone and call. And let me also remind you of Africa Town Hall. Africa Town Hall, that is Africa's own Facebook. Log in there, sign up, and see what you can do. It is where Africans are gathering with opinion to discuss the continent, politics, economy, social life, marketing, anything that you can think of. The website is there on the screen. And of course, ABC subscribers, please join the club, ABC Club. Join ABC Club. Get to www.abcambertv.org to sign up with $10, $20, $100 to become a member of this club. Let me get to the callers. Hello, sir.
Hello, Secretary Chris. It appears they are still complaining that there is no volume.
No, the volume is back. The volume is back on now.
Okay. Thank you for picking my call. I just wanted to ask just two questions to Comrade Abdukarim. That we are in this revolution because we are seeking justice, and then Abdukarim acknowledged that we have only one interim government, and it is Dr. Sako who is the president. And if we are seeking for justice, and Abdukarim knows very well that Ayuk Tabe has been impeached, why is he now endorsing calls for collaboration by Ayuk Tabe? But if Abdukarim did not, or he doesn't recognize the impeachment, and he endorses the calls by Ayuk Tabe for collaboration, what advice did he give? Can he give Ayuk Tabe instead of him calling the various groups that have been involved in the revolution for collaboration? Ayuk Tabe is instead calling by individuals and making up new leaders like all those activists. So wasn't it a good idea for him to call SCNC, RUA, call AGC, but he went ahead calling by individuals whose agenda is different? And then if he he supports the fact that Ayuk Tabe and the rest, they did not celebrate the 1st of October. Thank you.
Thank you, UN, for your articulation. Unfortunately, Abdul is no longer on set, but I guess that he is listening to your interrogation. I would say that I agree with you, and I think that is a question I asked, why you was legitimizing an impeached government from a legitimate government that has been in place forever. But thank you for that question. Let me see who else is on the line. This is Ground Zero. Hello, sir.
Hello?
Hello, sir.
Yes, I have a question to Abdukarim.
Yes, what is the question, sir?
The question goes thus. He claims to be the leader of Ground Zero. And within the time that we were very small here in town, we got people like Dr. Chuzungu who came up with a signature referendum. We never saw Abdul Karim or any name Karim or Abdul. Now, we got when Kapo got the Republic of Cameroon to the African Court of Human Rights, the Banjul, together with the SCNC. We were small, we never saw Karim with or any name Abdul. There are so many of the things that we saw in Tanzania concerning the SNC that Karim was not even there. Now, how did he find himself catapulted to a rank of representing Grand Zero, where we had been here and people were being killed all over? We had never seen him on the street or denouncing all what was going on. How did he find himself? Who promoted him to that rank of representing Grand Zero? We had never seen him talk on this president. I just quoted one of Dr. Chulungi of Signature Referendum and let him go getting the Republic of Cameroon to the African Court of Human Rights at the Banjul with the Leg Dinglo Chibayamba and Dr. Fongaranfo, he was not there. How did he find himself as the leader of Ground Zero, who catapulted him at that particular situation we have never seen, even right now when they were killing people all along between 2018 and 2019. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That is a good question. I really wish that Abdul was still on set to answer your question. I just cannot answer for him. But I guess you never know when there are people who have been in this struggle for years, and you will never know when they join. But I wish he was still here to answer your question, and I believe he is listening to you. He may put it out to you in one of his posts. Thanks for the call. All right. Hello, sir.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir. May I know where you are calling from, please?
I'm calling from Bamenda.
Okay.
So I just want to put you in something. Yeah, I just want to put you in something. Talking about the statement that is coming out about collaboration and everything. I just want that the people should be very wise. The people should be very wise, and we should also understand. I want to congratulate Comrade Abdukarim for everything that he is doing as a peaceful somebody, try to see that he can put people together. But I also want to let him understand that at this point in time, he should be very, very wise to understand, because if we follow this struggle with emotion, we are going to lose. I have studied so many revolutions, and everything that we are going through, I've seen it happen. But the enemy will always want to see to bring distraction. I know people have put in for their draft, and everything that you are seeing coming up now is to distract people from contributing to their draft.
You are 100% correct, sir. You are very, very correct.
The interim government has to be very focused, and they know that whatever is coming, they know that people need to pay their draft before December. So they are coming up with something to disrupt, to drive the focus of the people, bring confusion. That is something that is actually happening, because I don't think at this point in time they jump up and they are starting talking about collaboration. People should be focused and talking about the situation of surrogacy. I also want to really talk to any other true follower of this revolution, that they should be able to grow up. They should not take the revolution as charges. People should stop coming online, calling people names, posting pictures of people, talking negative about them. Even if we know something negative about them, let us forget about them and we all focus on the struggle. Because if we cannot be able to look and see what is happening, it is a distraction to push people not to contribute to their draft. I don't think it should not even be a topic for you people to discuss it. People should be focused.
Thank you. I think you make a very vital point there. All that you see out there, ladies and gentlemen, is to poison people's minds, people who drafted for the draft, not to redeem those drafts, so that at the end of the day, when we go back next year to redo the drafts, people will start asking, what happened to the money you guys collected for the last draft? They won't know that people's minds were poisoned not to redeem them. So let us be smarter. Every Ambazonian out there, let us be smarter. They are setting us for failure. Let us redeem our drafts and shame. And I mean shame these irrelevant guys out there. All right? The phone line is still open. What is the time now? Let me see how far I can go. All right. Let me take this other caller here. Hello, sir. Please, before you call, shut down the volume of your television set before you call. I won't take any call with the volume in the background overriding. So please shut down your volume before you call. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yes. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. May I know where you are calling from, please?
Yeah, I'm calling from South Cyprus.
South Cyprus. Good to hear your voice, sir. What do you have in your mind?
Yes, Secretary Chris, good evening, or it's good morning over there in the US.
Good evening here.
Yeah, my concern is about the infighting in the struggle.
Okay.
Why don't you people unite? Why don't you, all the factions unite to create a good push?
Give me, all right, you asked a very vital question. I think that is what everybody is asking. Give me your idea of how you think that will unite.
Yes, Secretary Chris, my main problem is that you should come to a compromise to unite to...
No, hold on. It is easy to say, hey, just unite, come to a compromise. I'm asking you, how do you get there?
I don't know how you can get there, but I'm just giving an idea that you should come to compromise with the other activists.
And it is a very good idea. It is a very good idea. I'm sure, did you listen to us through the show?
I came in late, I was at work.
Okay, I guess that is why you are asking that. That has been the subject of this show, and we have said that you have heard of ACT, Ambazonia Coalition Team, right?
Yes, I learned of that.
Don't you think that every group that is serious out there claiming they are fighting for this struggle should be part of that?
Maybe they are not buying the idea in that organization.
So, all right, thank you. So, if they do not buy the idea of that organization, how do we where should we collaborate or come to unity? Oh, I think that caller dropped. All right, I get another caller coming in here. Oh, hello. Hello. Please shut down your volume before you call. Shut down your volume. Hello, sir.
Yeah. Hello, Secretary Chris.
Good evening, sir. If it is good evening at your end.
Yeah, it's evening as well here at our end.
Where are you calling from, please?
I just want to I'm calling from Switzerland.
Thank you. Go on.
Thank you so much for all your effort. And what I just want to emphasize is concerning our comrade Abdukarim. You getting me?
Yes, 515. Go on.
Okay. So I want to say Abdukarim is a man full of wisdom. And I believe before he tried to put out such a write-up, he must have thought about it multiple times. So it shouldn't be something that we'll consider as a coincidence. So my comment is, as a man full of wisdom, I've never seen where there is wisdom with injustice. Because Abdukarim knows quite clear that Ayuk Tabe has been, let me put it this way, as our barrister Nsoh earlier said in the beginning of the struggle, that he has been compromised. And he knowing that, and he fully being a member of the ACT, and he knows all what has been going on behind the scene with the Kundenge Mafia group, and all of a sudden he came out and was posting such a write-up whereby we don't know where he belongs to, and now we are in a moment in this struggle whereby we don't deal with middlemen. What we deal with is either you are with us or you are not with us.
Yes.
So my comment is clear, and I'm very happy the way you articulated or you put your monologue to let Abdukarim know that the time has come that this our generation is not a generation whereby we will have a leader that behaves as a ruler, or we have someone who doesn't represent us for what we want him to do for us. Because what Abdukarim is trying to do, I just want to let him know I'm not against him. He's a man of peace, full of wisdom, but I've never seen, even in religious aspect in life, there is no way you apply justice or you apply wisdom without justice. So I don't know where it's coming from, but what we know is let him understand that we are not more stupid. This our generation is not a generation to tolerate any sort of leadership or rulership without the consent of the people. So that's just the comment that I want to emphasize on. I thank you so much for your good job, and I pray that you continue to have understanding and enlightenment so that you may keep on, educating our youths and those who are really genuine Amberlanders to see that we have freedom in the nearest possible manner that we could ever imagine. So thank you and stay blessed, my brother.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. And those are some very vital points that you have raised out there. And I would really say to every Ambazonian out there, I think after 4 years, it will be very disingenuous for any Ambazonian out there to still say he is on the middle, trying to be on the middle, have your legs everywhere, look for support or favors from everywhere, every angle. After 4 years, we know who is fighting for Ambazonia. We know whose heart is for Ambazonia. So the idea that you can just come out and stand on the middle and say things there to please that side, say things here to please this side, it just doesn't argue well with me. And I think most Ambazonians, they know that too. Let us belong where we belong, toe the line, and do our best to push the struggle to Boya. All right, let me get this other caller here. I think this is from Germany. Hello, sir.
Hello, Secretary Chris. Good evening. This is Comrade Cyprian calling from Germany.
Good evening, comrade. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you very much. I actually enjoy the show and all the panelists, but I just want to give my little contribution.
All right.
And my first point here goes to Abdukarim. I think Comrade Abdukarim has become of recent very unstable, and we are 4 years into this struggle. It is no longer time for us to be unstable. We should know where we belong. We should know where we belong. We don't need to have one leg inside, one leg outside. And one other thing he should understand is that we appreciate him when he challenges the La Republique people when it comes to debate. But let him know that he cannot challenge us because we have that same fact that he has. And when something is factual, it's indisputable. So when he challenges the La Republique people, it is normal, it is fact. So there's nothing, La Republique, they come from a position of lies telling. That's why he's able to challenge them. But let that fact not carry him far in such a way that he thinks that he can challenge us, Ambazonia. Abdukarim cannot challenge us. So let him be careful with that. That's one advice I want to give to him. Now, talking about collaboration, I want to say this. When Moses liberated his people from Egypt to the promised land, all of them did not need to be in the same convoy to get to the promised land. Nonetheless, some separated midway, but they saw the promised land. So this message goes to the IG. The IG is like the Moses, and other people, they will leave the IG, they will go their separate way, but Moses will take the people to the promised land. So let the IG not expect everybody to be on the same line with them, but the IG will take the people to the promised land. Then my last point is we should be careful the people we put into the act, because this act is the organ that is going to represent us for the negotiation. So we should not bring people there with different ideology, so much that when people get negotiation, they will go down and be quarreling themselves instead of being one identity. Will be quarreling themselves, and the people, the negotiators, they will say that, oh, those people are not ready, and the war will continue, and so on. So we should be careful. And my last point is about sabotage. I want to say this, sir. Donald Trump, the president of America, even CNN, BBC plotted against him to bring him down so that he should not win the election. But nonetheless, he won the election. Who are those little so-called activists who are they struggling to sabotage the IG, and the IG should be worried? The IG should not worry. Ambazonia are intellectual. Ambazonia is a literate country. Ambazonia is not a country of illiterate. So we understand all those things that they are doing there. We understand them very well. So people should not worry yourself. People should go on, keep doing your good work. What people can explain to us, or ask you for a question, just answer us, and we are understanding. People should not bother about all those sabotage. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. You said it all, Ambazonians. We got to be smarter. Let me tell you, as this guy has just said, it's not everybody who is shouting independence, 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 oh boya, 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 in all these groups will take us to boya. And just as he has said, the Israelites left Egypt. Not every one of them got to the promised land, saw the promised land. So please, let's be very, very careful the voices we are listening to out there. At the end of the day, what is happening now is a shifting, a shifting. People are dropping along the way. People who thought they would just get rich quick along the way, they realize there is nothing, there is really no motivation, no payment in this, and they are dropping out and then running over to the other side, collecting change money, and then turning against the people. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, especially the restoration forces out there on ground zero, stand